Sarawak, a model for smart city. Borneo Phase 2 to resume soon, and Ukraine preps Kyiv for impending attack. Those are the headlines for tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Muhammad Yusuf, and this is TVS Nightline. The development of smart cities in Sarawak has attracted the attention of University of Malaysia Pahang, or UMP, which the university said would serve as the basis for its smart campus and a model for the smart city in Pahang. According to its Vice-Chancellor, Professor Datuk Dr. Yusri Zainuddin, UMP will apply the state's smart city strategies and act as advisory to Pahang state government in implementing the concept.
Maka untuk kali ini, kita bersama dengan courtesy visit kepada Datuk Tan Sri Pak Tinggi untuk melihat bagaimana kita dapat bekerjasama untuk terus melaksanakan aktiviti berkaitan smart city, kerana kita akan menggunakan approach ataupun kaedah yang digunakan di sini kepada smart campus di Universiti Malaysia Pahang dan juga seterusnya kepada smart city di daerah-daerah di Pahang.
He told this to reporters after paying a courtesy visit to the Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, at his office on Monday. The delegation was led by UMP Chairman Tan Sri Abdul Aziz Abdul Rahman. Panggau Dayak, an inclusive base in the development of Kuching, would be a symbol for the Dayak community. As such, construction of the 9-story high building Twin Towers project is on course for completion by year-end. The project on the 2-hectare site is a joint development program by the Dayak Cultural Foundation and Dayak Chamber of Commercial and Industry, with each tower as their headquarters offices. This development is also in line with the manifestation of Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg's inclusive policies.
This Panggau Dayak is a joint development program by the Dayak Cultural Foundation and the Dayak Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So here you can see this building is the DCF, and the other building will be the CCI plus the apartment and so on. This project cost roughly about 1.3 million, 103 million. And we are very, very grateful to the state government. Number one, on the alienation of this prime land. You can see this area is a prime land. And number two, they are not only giving us land, they're also giving us grant amounting to 28 million to support our program. And that really enables us to carry out this project on time. I'm very happy and thankful to the management for being able to manage this project and going on time in spite of the COVID situation that we've faced the last 2 years. So we hope this is also a symbol that the Dayak community are part of the development in Kuching.
He said so when visiting the construction site of the Dayak Cultural Foundation DCF and the Dayak Chamber of Commerce and Industry DCCI, accompanied by Minister of Modernisation of Agriculture and Regional Development, Datuk Sri Dr. Stephen Rundi Utom, earlier this morning. The new DCF headquarters will feature a new art facility for cultural dancers and performers, as well as a gallery in promoting and conserving the Dayak culture and heritage. On the other hand, DCCI will serve as an entrepreneurial hub for Dayak communities statewide, with emphasis given to those in the startups. Meanwhile, Panggau Dayak General Manager Alistair Smith commented that Panggau Dayak is expected to be completed by the end of year 2022.
So it's part of this entire project is called, this is Panggau Daya Towers, and the one behind is PD Residences. Yeah. So expected completion for this building, this office tower, will be by the end of this year, and then the apartment will be done by the first quarter of 2023, and then the condo will be by the end of 2023. Construction for the apartment and the condo, we're looking at about, I think, 30 months. But
Because of COVID.
yeah, because of COVID, so there was some delay, so just below 3 years. But this building, this office tower should be done by end of this year, 2022.
On to the next highlight. 10 local authorities or PBTs were awarded with the ASEAN Clean Tourist City Standard Awards 2022 to 2024 during the ASEAN Travel Awards 2022. The North Kuching City Commission, DBKU, Kuching South City Council, MBKS, Cebu Municipal Council and Miri City Council, MCC, were among the PBTs awarded with national-level awards.
According to Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Dato Sri Nancy Shukri, of the total, 3 were ASEAN-level awards and 7 were national-level awards. Receiving the ASEAN-level award are Penang Island City Council, Muar Municipal Council and Langkawi Municipal Council Tourism City. Similar to MBKS and MCC, councils such as Putrajaya Corporation, Kuantan City Council and Terengganu City Council also clinched as winners. During the same event, Nancy said 14 Malaysian recipients obtained the highest marks to receive awards at the ASEAN level through 4 categories. But due to quota constraints set by the ASEAN Secretariat, some missed the opportunity to receive the award.
The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture will continuously do its part to promote the recently launched Borneo Cultures Museum. The second largest museum in Southeast Asia is the latest icon in the state that could draw visitors from both domestic and international.
Dia Borneo Cultures Museum. Dia lebih kepada kebudayaan, artifak-artifak yang menggambarkan kebudayaan. Museum yang satu tu masih ada. Jadi ini Borneo Cultures punya museum yang menunjukkan apa yang common dalam island Borneo itu ya. Kita Motek banyak membantu juga dari segi kepakaran kita.
The Borneo Cultures Museum was officially declared open by the Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Sarawak Tun Pehin Sri Abdul Taib Mahmud on Friday. People with disabilities or OKUs can now be on the forefront of business and agriculture. Minister for Women, Childhood and Community Wellbeing Development, Datuk Seri Fatimah Abdullah, noted that the state government has established several organizations to provide special financial assistance and business consultations. Among these organizations is the Miri Association of Persons with Physical Disabilities, or POKU FM. During Fatimah's visit to POKU FM, she was delighted to see that the association is ramping up its own initiative in agricultural via hydroponic, as well as various services sector.
Sangat menyokonglah usaha yang dilakukan sebab yang lebih berkemampuan itu bolehlah berjalan pertanian tradisional. Tapi bagi yang kurang kemampuan itu boleh menjalankan aktiviti pertanian secara moden. Hidroponik ini ataupun hidroponik ini adalah satu jenis pertanian moden dan tidak perlu lagi mencangkul. Jadi boleh menggunakan kaedah dan teknik yang telah diajar sama ada oleh pihak Jabatan Pertanian ataupun ahli dalam bidang ini.
Fatimah also reminded recipients who received the monthly assistance from the Welfare Department to apply for a 5,000 ringgit grant to establish a business.
Sebab kerajaan kita ni kerajaan yang mempunyai banyak jenis bantuan. Banyak jenis bantuan. Misal tadi disebut grant pelancaran. Itu satu sumbernya. Grant pelancaran RM5,000 untuk satu individu bagi yang berdaftar dalam penerima bantuan bulanan JKM, ya, penerima bantuan bulanan JKM. Kemudian nak buat projek misalnya, katakanlah nak buat projek masaj ke ataupun macam di sini tadi nak, ya. Kalau ada lagi orang lain yang telah dilatih, nak buat projek ataupun nak buka souvenir shop di sini ke, ya. So jadi buat permohonan untuk mendapat grant pelancaran RM5,000. Dan tadi juga ada disebut nak mohon secara kumpulan.
In a bid to assist the growth of the Sarawak furniture industry, the Sarawak Timber Industry Development Corporation continues its talent development program to groom and develop young talents by giving further exposure on entrepreneurship skills as a pathway towards developing their career as a furniture designer. STIDC, through its wholly owned subsidiary company Saradek Management Sendirian Berhad or Saradek, continued its talent development program for Sarawak young designers, also known as Say Designers Sarawak, who had completed their 2 years training program on furniture design in efforts to join in its incubator program. STIDC General Manager Datuk Haji Hashim said that the program was developed in line with the vision to boost the growth of the furniture industry to achieve export earnings of 6 billion ringgit as part of the state's industry plan by 2030. The incubator's second module started in January 2022 until September 2022 with a special customized Say Designers Sarawak Link and Match or SLIM program developed and implemented by Saradek in collaboration with Institute Technology Bandung, ITB, Sarawak Furniture Industries Association and STIDC vendors. The first module was conducted in October to December 2021 for 15 Say Designers Sarawak who had completed their 2 years training program trained to become an entrepreneur as a furniture designer. Understanding the plight of dilapidated schools in the state, upgrading and repairing works of such schools will be expedited. State Minister of Education, Innovation and Talent Development, Datuk Roland Saga, said the projects were previously stalled due to various factors, including the pandemic.
Sekolah daib kita sedang dalam pelaksanaan. Ada yang dulu yang belum dilaksana oleh kerana beberapa faktor, terutama sekali kena COVID pada masa itu. Maka dalam keadaan yang sedemikian, orang tak ada kerja dan juga kira tak ada sebab tak dapat sampai ke negeri. Saya percaya sekarang keadaan sudah agak pulih sedikit dan I'm sure we will be able to start faster now.
Roland noted that there have been some delays for a few school projects which requested for relocation due to frequent floods. Earlier, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the government has identified a total of 1,022 dilapidated schools throughout Sarawak. Meanwhile, on the Sarawak Biodiversity Centre, Roland said the centre has the potential to drive the growth of the bio industry in the state, noting that commercialization and innovation of bio-based products will highlight the importance of native plants in Sarawak.
All those purposes which relates to discoveries that can give us a better life in terms of for food, for medicine, or for even for our well-being. And some even want to get much fairer. These are things which are also required not just by us, but it's the trend in the world.
He added, the studies gained from the research will contribute to economic development in addition to generating income for bio-based product entrepreneurs. Sarawak Biodiversity Centre Chief Executive Officer Yo Tiong Chia hoped to collaborate with the community to further spur the growth of bio-industry in Sarawak.
In terms of research, we are looking at very far ahead, which we have described it as drug discovery at the speed of digital, which means that we are using digital technology to run our research, to make our research more efficient, and also to generate results much faster. And here, if we can do that, then I think Sarawak would be very advanced in terms of what we can do.
Tips apa pula yang Siti Zawawi dan Azwan Shah akan kongsikan pada minggu ini? Jangan lupa saksikan Beauty Tips minggu ini setiap hari Jumaat jam 10.15 pagi hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan My Freeview.
Tokoh Wanita Sarawak bersempena dengan sambutan Hari Wanita Sarawak 2022. Ekspresi Tinta Wanita.
Welcome back to the Nightline. The construction of Phase 2 of the Sarawak Pan-Borneo Highway, or LPB, from Limbang to Lawas will resume this year and is expected to be completed in 2028. And this was stated by the Deputy Works Minister, Dato' Arthur Joseph Kurup. He also added that the government remains committed to completing the project, which has the objective of facilitating travel between the two areas without passing through Brunei. The Cabinet had agreed in principle with the implementation of the project during its meeting on March 4, he said at the question and answer session in the Dewan Rakyat today.
Dan kerajaan akan memberi komitmen untuk mengutamakan jajaran ini, di mana objektifnya adalah untuk melancarkan trafik tanpa melalui negara Brunei Darussalam.
Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob had previously given an assurance that he would find a way to resume the construction of the said project. During the Prime Minister's visit to Brunei on February 14 and 15, he said the government had agreed to approve several high-impact projects, including the Trans-Borneo Highway, covering Phase 2 of Sarawak's portion of the LPB and Phase 2 of the Sarawak-Sabah Link Road SSLR project. On the work progress of Phase 1 of the LPB project in Sarawak, involving a 786-kilometer stretch, Arthur said it was 78% completed as of last January. He said there were several packages in the project that would experience a slight delay due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and they were expected to be completed next year. Arthur said the ministry would also conduct regular visits and engagement sessions with the contractors and consultants involved to assess the effectiveness of the mitigation plans and ensure the smooth implementation of the project. The National Recovery Council Chairman Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said the National Recovery Plan 2.0 or NRP 2.0 needs to be exceptional to boost economic growth and put Malaysia back on track towards becoming a high-income developed country. Muhyiddin, who is also the Pagoh Member of Parliament, urged the government to expedite the implementation of NRP 2.0, which possess policies and strategies anchored on quality investments, high productivity, and trade creation and expansion to promote sustainable growth. He said the previous NRP had placed the country's recovery process on the right track via three aspects, namely production, output, employment, and quality of life. He said this at the Dewan Rakyat during a debate session today. Muhyiddin recommended for the NRP 2.0 to be implemented based on the concept of Recovery Plus Plus, which is inclusive and involves stakeholders through a whole-of-the-nation approach. The country's poverty line will be revised and is expected to be amended in the first quarter of next year. The current poverty line, which is 2,208 ringgit for households and 1,100 ringgit and 69 per household for the hardcore poor, would be reviewed by the Department of Statistics. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Economy, Datuk Seri Mustafa Mohamad, said the figure will be reviewed and is expected to be amended in the first quarter of next year. Mustafa said the government, under the 12 Malaysia Plan or 12MP, is committed to eradicating the hardcore poor with an average income of 1,169 ringgit per household through a holistic and comprehensive approach. The country's poverty rate had also changed significantly over the past 5 decades, influenced by the overall economic growth rate. However, he acknowledged that the country is still facing several issues and challenges, such as the urban poor and in rural areas, in addition to low salary and wages, as well as inequality of development between regions and states. Malaysia is ready to open its international borders. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob is expected to announce the opening of the country's borders soon, according to Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Datuk Seri Nancy Shukri. In this regard, Datuk Seri Nancy Shukri said the move would revive the country's tourism sector affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, adding that the opening of the land route between Malaysia and Singapore via the Johor Causeway and the second link will be carried out simultaneously with the opening of the country's border.
InsyaAllah PM akan announce dalam masa terdekat lah. PM saja yang announce.
Persediaan Kementerian Pelancongan macam mana?
Kita siap sedia. Kita dah sedia dah.
Datuk, ini termasuk pembukaan di Causeway jugalah ya? Sempadannya?
Semuanya. Kita terbuka sekali. Seluruh.
Last Saturday, the Prime Minister was reported to have said that the country's border would be reopened soon, allowing members of Keluarga Malaysia who had not seen each other for a long time to return home, especially for the Aidilfitri, which will be celebrated in May. On November 29 last year, the land-vaccinated travel lane VTL via the Johor Causeway and the second link were opened simultaneously with the air VTL between Changi Airport and Kuala Lumpur International Airport KLIA. Land travel between Singapore and Johor Bahru is for long-term pass holders who are working in Singapore and Johor Bahru. Malaysia plans to develop new methods of administering the COVID-19 vaccine via oral or nasal spray. These new methods will be developed through the National Vaccine Development Roadmap, or PPVN. Deputy Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, Dato' Ahmad Amzad Hashim, said the different methods of administering the vaccine were being studied because there were people who were afraid of needles, which might prevent them from getting their COVID-19 vaccine. Ahmad Amzad explained that PPVN would not be focusing solely on the production of COVID-19 vaccine, but also the development of other vaccines for humans. He said currently Malaysia only had the capacity to produce vaccines for animals. On the local vaccine candidates, Ahmad Amzad said there were some that had passed the pre-clinical phase and would be tested on humans.
Anda nak tahu apa yang terjadi dalam sejahtera Asia musim yang terbaru?
Lebih rancak, lebih meriah.
Lebih menarik, lebih informatif. Lebih banyak program baharu dan menarik.
Nak belajar? Nak tahu tempat menarik? Nak apa lagi?
Saya di sini lagi rancak berjalan.
Saksikan Sejahtera Asia musim yang baru
bersiaran setiap hari jam 7.30 pagi.
Korang nak tahu mana tempat best? Jom saya bawa anda semua jalan-jalan menerokai tempat menarik di Sarawak dalam sini tempat best yang bakal menemui anda 6 Mac ini setiap Ahad jam 4.15 petang hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan My Freeview.
Mungkin bos boleh suruhnya untuk hentikan nak mogok ya.
Tolong settlekan masalah staf mogok tu dia cakap.
Kau jangan nak ajar aku ah. Kau ingat sikit kau siapa? Aku siapa tu?
Kami tahu dan kami kenal siapa yang langgar kami ya. Ataupun kami boleh padah yang cuba langgar pekerja mogok ya.
On to some global updates on the TVS Nightline. Now, the Ukrainian armed forces are preparing themselves for a possible advance by the Russian army towards its capital, Kyiv. A video footage was released showing the Ukrainian army building trenches, roadblocks and checkpoints leading to Kyiv, which was severely damaged when the war erupted. Russia have been relentless with their attacks, air raids and shelling, to name a few, especially in Kharkiv's northeast region. The attacks appear to also target on several Ukrainian healthcare facilities, which incurred mass casualties. Ukrainians in Kyiv are preparing themselves for similar attacks.
Облаштовуємо блокпости, відвигаємося на групою швидкого реагування. Все буде добре.
Ми забезпечені, в принципі, на 100%. Що касається по озброєнню, ми готові давати любу відсіч. Позиції готові, ми їх вже дообладнали, боєприпаси є, і ми просто чекаємо на цю зустріч. Гнати будемо, як і всі сильні підрозділи, так що перемога буде за нами.
Though the two neighboring countries have traded blame for the failure of ceasefire attempt on Saturday to allow civilians to flee, more talks will be held. Russia, however, has shown the least amount of interest, with Russian President Vladimir Putin is still fixated on calling the war a special military operation to achieve a demilitarized and denazified Ukraine. Wrapping up the Nightline. Disneyland Paris Resort kicked off its 30th anniversary celebration on Saturday, March 5 in Chessy, France. The ongoing celebrations are meant to last until the anniversary date, April 12th.
Performers dance in front of the park's Sleeping Beauty castle, wearing costumes of iconic Disney characters such as Miguel from Coco, Elsa from Frozen, and Mickey Mouse. The complex, originally dubbed as the Euro Disney Resort, was first opened in 1992. Gracing the opening ceremony was Walt Disney's then Chief Executive Officer Michael Eisner, accompanied by Walt Disney's nephew Edward Roy Disney. Works on the resort began in 1988, involving 5,300 workers, transforming fields of beetroot and cereal to a resort spanning more than 2,000 hectares. Cooperation between the French government and Disney took place on a major scale, with the government selling the land to Disney and financing the extension of train and high-speed train lines, as well as the nearby highway to connect the site to the capital. Back to the celebrations, new shows were featured, including a nightly light show where 150 drones formed the 30th anniversary logo in the sky above the castle. Disneyland Paris is undoubtedly the biggest amusement park and attracted 15 million visitors every year before the pandemic.
And that's all the time we have for tonight's TVS Nightline. Follow TVSTVMY for more news update. My name is Muhammad Yusuf. Good night and rest well.